Hi, everybody, and welcome to this webinar by Magnate Assets around why invest in Manchester, why invest in the UK. Um, I've got Hiren is with me now, and we're just going to give it a couple of minutes as people log on and register and ready to join the webinar. So we'll just probably a couple of minutes, and then we'll get started with the webinar itself. So thank you for your patience, and we'll start very soon. Just for those who have just joined us, we're welcome to the webinar. We're just giving a little bit of time for people to log on, and we'll be starting the webinar in the next couple of minutes. Thank you for your patience, and we'll get started as I said in the next couple of minutes. Hi, just for those who just joined us, we're just giving it a little bit of time, another minute or two for people to join us. But welcome to this webinar with myself and Hiren, and we'll be getting started very shortly. We're just giving it a minute too for people to who are logging on. So thank you for your patience. For those just joining the last minute or so, we're just waiting just for people to log on. We'll get started in the next 30 seconds or so. But welcome and thank you for logging on and joining us for this webinar. So we'll just give it a couple of more, there's a few more people logging on, and then we're just going to get started. Thank you again just for your patience. Let's get started. We've got everybody logged on and people can join us. So welcome today to the Magnate Assets webinar, where we're going to be looking at, as the title says, why invest in Manchester. And I'm joined here today by Hiren Naker. Hiren is an expert on the UK real estate, and we'll come on and do our introductions. Today's agenda that we're going to try and cover today is we can bring up the slide on there. So today's agenda, we're going to be looking at, we'll do the introductions. First, at a high level, is why invest in the UK, and then in particular, why is Manchester a standout investment destination? And then we'll do a little bit of information and provide information about the map, about the typical kind of developments that you have in there, and obviously we can give you or we'll provide some information on two things really, which is Legacy, who are our partner, who we work with on all the Manchester investments and developments. And the firm full turnkey solution really covers the process in which or how it works in terms of UK real estate and the process and the nuances, obviously, of being the UK and the differences there, which is quite important bit of information to understand that. So if I can introduce myself and Magnate Assets. Magnate Assets is an investment portal. So we've created a portal that is there to link investors to directly with developers and their appointed master agents who they work with in terms of promoting their development and projects. We work with mainly overseas investors. And the idea behind Magnate is to create the portal, provide the information and education to investors who are looking at UK real estate and want to understand more. So that's where Magnate Assets come from. And now, if I can hand you over to Hiren, and Hiren can do his introduction and the introduction on legacy as well.
Thank you very, very much for that, Keith. I really, really appreciate the introduction. It's a pleasure to see you all today, and thank you for taking the time to attend our webinar, where we're going to try and make it as informative as we possibly can and teach you as much as we can as to why the UK and why Manchester are some of the key hotspot areas at the moment in the UK. Now, just before we get started, a couple of things just to mention. Now, obviously, with this being a webinar, it's a closed webinar. So for the Q&A bit, there's a section at the bottom where it says chats, or you can ask any questions as well. Please feel free to ask any questions you can throughout the whole presentation. And then at the end, we will be more than happy to answer all of these questions. We'll do some of them by actually responding back by chat, and some of them we will respond back to you in person as well. Obviously, due to the numerous webinars we've done in the past, sometimes we have a lot of questions that are asked. So we will try and get through as many as we can personally, but the rest we will message you back as well. So on that note, I'd like to introduce myself. So my name is Hiren Naker. I'm the Managing Director for Legacy. I've been based in Dubai for the last 15 years now because of the strategic location of being based in Dubai. We're doing a lot of business within Africa, the Middle East, and then Turkey, Asia, and also into Europe. So it's been a very strategic location to be based in, hence the reason why I moved here about 15 years ago. I am also a UK qualified financial advisor with over 15 years of experience in the investment advisory, and property was something that I added into this that really made a lot of strategic sense for clients looking for long-term financial advice and investment opportunities. I focus on clients in the Middle East and Africa regions. I work with individuals and family offices to help build and secure their financial legacies. We specialize in property portfolio development for future growth and succession planning, but I also do deliver a turnkey investment solution and full service consultancy for global investors. I'm also committed to strategic long-term value creation for all of my international clients. So on that, now let's start by talking about why are more and more investors looking at property in the UK? Well, here are some of the key reasons that I've found over the years. The first and foremost is long-term financial security. Their country may be very fragile and uncertain at the moment. There's also about country diversification. Many investors are diversifying into foreign property markets to minimize their risk. Then we also have currency and economical hedging. So local currency and investment issues in many countries hinder future financial planning. And with the UK having such a strong currency, the pound, as well as a strong economy and strong government, many people find it a great investment opportunity there. An increasing number of foreign residents are also sending their children to UK universities, making early property investments a priority to secure safe, reliable housing and manage major expenses. For those approaching retirement or just looking for consistent returns, certain income in a hard currency, there is no better asset than property. And then finally, we've got wealth growth and strong ties. Many investors in the UK investing into the UK to capitalize on wealth building opportunities, deepen their UK connections, and satisfy a strong interest in property ownership. And these have been some of the key reasons when I speak to clients individually as to why do they look to invest into UK property itself. Okay. Furthermore, so why should you invest in the UK? And here are some key reasons why, again, over the years, we have found have been the key reasons why people like to invest into the UK property market. So first and foremost, the UK offers attractive rental yield due to high demand from professionals and students, often surpassing those in other major global cities. The UK property market has a history of strong capital growth, with prices increasing on average around 5% per year over the past 100 years. It's driven by a strong economy, limited land supply, and global appeal. Then the UK also has a strong, diversified economy, creates healthy property demand from both businesses and individuals, benefiting investors. And then finally, oh, I have a little bit of a pause there, sorry. And then finally, the UK's excellent transport links make it a convenient place to live and work, boosting property demand. Now, this is one of my favorite slides, and the next one, which I'm going to now show you. This is showing you just how the UK property market has done since 1965. So this is giving you a very good idea in the long term, looking at investment property in the UK, of just how strong UK property has been over even the last 60, 65 years. Here's a couple of key moments that a lot of people think about and ask about. So in 1990 to 1995 is when we had a global recession. It was also part of the Persian Gulf War crisis that we had. And even at that point, you can see here, UK property prices did not actually drop. They stagnated, even though there was a global recession. And in 1995, after it all ended, UK property prices shot back up. Then in 2007, we had the Lehman Brothers global market crash and recession, where literally the whole world had the effects of what happened. And even then, UK property prices took a very small dip for a couple of years, not a huge dip like many other markets. But in 2010, UK property prices then shot back up. But to also add, the UK property market was one of the fastest economies to recover out of recession, when other countries still went on for another 5 and 10 years, even after that, to recover. But a lot of this is contributed because of the shortage of land, the increasing demand and population growth in the UK, and also UK is a very small island where the population keeps rising. You can't build many more properties, and so property prices keep on rising. Then in 2016 is when we announced Brexit, or the referendum, when the UK said we want to exit the EU and we no longer want to be part of Europe. A lot of people thought there's going to be a mass exodus of Europeans leaving the UK property market, but yet nobody left. And in fact, UK property prices remained strong and actually continued rising, and nobody ended up leaving the UK. And in 2020, we had COVID. Even since then, UK property prices continued rising, and that is again due to the supply and demand imbalance in the UK property market. So what this is actually showing you, even over 65, 70 years period, UK property prices are very strong and will remain strong if you're looking to invest for the medium to long-term hold. So gives you a bit of peace of mind. Then furthermore, even if we look a little bit more recent, this is talking about the average UK house price since 2012 up until even 2022, 2023. And even then, you can see that UK property prices have risen by an average of around £100,000 just over the last 12 to 14 years. Okay. And this is showing you the significance of buying into and investing into UK property prices, where they're only going up because they're still undervalued in many key regions like Manchester. Now, going on to what we believe as a summary, the northwest of England. Well, the northwest of England is the UK's #1 property hotspot and offers outstanding house price and rental growth, according to Savills. And what they said is that 28.8, so just under 30% house price growth by the end of this year of 2025, compared to the UK average of around 21.1%. But also, you're going to see 3.3% rental growth per annum, even moving forward, and that is due to the supply and demand imbalance. The city centre property markets in this region offer everything you need to make a profitable investment. And here I'm going to give you some more statistics showing you, even in the last 5 years, according to Zoopla and Savills, they said that in the northwest region, areas like Manchester, Leeds, and Sheffield, house prices grew by an average of 24.8% just in the last 5 years alone. Now, one of the key questions I always ask my clients is, if you had $1 million right now today, out of all of those cities, where would you invest your money? Where would you see the best growth? And everybody, for obvious reasons, will always say Manchester because it will go up by 7.9%, compounding on a yearly basis. But moving forward, according to JLL, they said that even in the next 5 years to come, the Northwest region, areas like Manchester, Leeds, and Sheffield, are going to see around just under 30% growth in capital appreciation on their properties, but also a 21.9% growth on rental income in the next 5 years. So, from an investment point of view, this is why we are heavily promoting Manchester as one of the best regions in the UK to invest into for property. Now let's look at the next 5 year price forecast according to Savills. And they said, there you go, Northwest region, which is areas like Manchester, Liverpool, Salford, and Salford is within Manchester, by the way, is going to grow around 29.4%. The Sheffield area is going to grow by about 28.2%, which is Sheffield, Leeds, and Halifax areas. Then you're going to look at the West Midlands, which is Birmingham, Coventry, Wolverhampton, at around 26.4%. And then finally, London at around 17.1%. So again, my question would be, if you are looking to invest into the UK property market, where do you feel would be the best investment opportunity, looking at that chart there as well? Now, to give you an idea, as a company and as Legacy, we don't just focus on Manchester only. We do have developments all over the UK. And to give you an idea, Leeds, Halifax, Manchester, Sheffield, Nottingham, Birmingham, Liverpool, and London. We have plenty of developments to go out for each and every single one of our clients. But today, what we're looking to do is focus on a specific area, which is Manchester. Okay, so let's start by showing you a little bit about Manchester and why Manchester is the #1 hotspot in the UK. And I'm going to start by sharing a very quick, short video, which is going to show you lots of stats and numbers. And there. Just giving you a little bit of an overview of Manchester, but let's go into a little bit more detail and talk about the infrastructure that's going on currently in Manchester. So Manchester, first and foremost, has the third largest international airport in the UK, and it flies all over the world and all the major countries as well. It's got extensive transport links, including airport, tram network, and rail connections. It's got home to vibrant population of approximately 550,000 people or residents, and that's just within the city centre of Manchester, not the whole greater Manchester area. But Manchester also boasts a dynamic economy with a 6.6% GDP growth rate in the past year, solidifying its vital role in the Northern Powerhouse Initiative. Then Manchester is home to 3 top universities with over 100,000 students a year, but also has a 70% graduate retention rate, highlighting its appeal as an educational and professional hub. And one thing I'd like to add there as well, many of my international clients in Africa, in India, in Asia, and Europe would like to send their children to areas like Manchester for university, even as opposed to London. But one of the most important things there to note is a 70% graduate retention rate. What that basically means that once these students, who are even local students from the UK, when they graduate, they don't go back to their home cities or home countries. they actually remain in Manchester and they get great jobs in Manchester. And this is increasing the population growth in Manchester. And over the next few slides, I'm going to emphasize the importance of the graduate retention rate there as well. Furthermore, the city is a hub for technology, finance, and healthcare, generating around 30,000 new jobs every single year. Manchester's average house price of £230,000 reflects a 5% year-on-year increase driven by strong rental demand. Okay. Now, the population growth of the Office of National Statistics is a government entity. They look at each and every single city in the UK and they base it on the growth of that city. And they said that Manchester's population growth is double the national average. Furthermore, Manchester City Council, again, another government entity, said that Manchester's population is projected to increase by 70,000 people by the end of this year. But according to Deloitte, they said even at the current rate of construction, Manchester will have a shortfall of at least 50,000 homes by the end of this year. So imagine this, you've got 70,000 people and a population increase, but you're going to have a shortage of 50,000 homes. And the key question I ask my clients there is, imagine if you own a property in Manchester today or this year, that means only two very positive things. You're going to get great capital appreciation on your investment, and you're going to get a very good rental yield on your investment as well by owning an investment property in Manchester. Then let's go to job creation. Again, Centres for Cities is a government entity that ranks every single city in the UK based on two very important criteria. The first is job growth, and secondly, population growth of a city. Manchester has been the #1 city for the last 8 years running. And it sits there with the highest population growth, or one of the highest population growths, but also in terms of job growth. If you look on there, you've got Leeds as second, and then Birmingham third, but all the way at number 20 is London. And everyone thinks that London, being the capital, is a great investment opportunity. However, it's not. Manchester has been the #1 city for the last 8 years running. Now, going on to in terms of job creation, going back to why the graduate retention rate is so high is because out of the FTSE 100 companies in the UK, which is basically the top 100 companies, 85% of them are now based in Manchester. And these students who are graduating don't want to go back to their home cities because they get great education, then they get fantastic jobs in these kind of companies. And even to show you furthermore, these are just some of the top companies, FTSE 100 companies in Manchester that are currently based there. And these graduates are getting great jobs in companies like this and then earning great salaries and potential for growth of their future. Now, just to explain a bit further, the dark grey area that you can see where it says Trafford, Salford and Manchester, that is technically the city centre of Manchester. Wigan, Bolton, Bury, Rochdale, Oldham, Tameside and Stockport, and then the inside, the dark grey, that is called the Greater Manchester area itself. So the Greater Manchester area has just under 3 million population. But in the city centre, the dark grey, where we focus all of our developments in, there's 550,000 people that live within there. It's the main driver of the northern economy. And furthermore, there are 1.5 million jobs just within the dark grey area of Salford, Trafford and Manchester. And that is exactly where we focus all of our prime location of developments in the UK. Now, let me now show you a map of our developments and what we currently have. So this is the Manchester main area. You've got the Manchester City Centre in the middle, and then on the top left, you've got Salford, and on the bottom right, you've got Old Trafford. And if you look here, let me show you some of the key landmarks. You've got the University of Manchester at the bottom, you've got the Piccadilly train station and the Victoria train station at the top. They go directly into London, Leeds, Sheffield, Birmingham, and all the major cities around the UK. You've then on the right-hand side got Manchester City Football Club. On the top left, you've got University of Salford. On the left-hand side, you've got Media City, where the BBC, ITV, Warner Brothers, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all the major companies are based. and on the bottom, you've got Manchester United Football Club itself. So all of this, any direction you go, is no more than 15 minutes into the city centre of Manchester. Okay? The green here are all of our previous developments that we have had over the last 18 months to 2 years, and they are now all completely sold out. That's how fast these developments sell. And then the blue is the developments that we currently have available today, and what I'm going to showcase all three of these developments with Berkeley Square, Kingfisher, and One Victoria. Now, we'll start by showing you the first development. Oh, sorry, let me show you our previous developments, just to give you a bit of an idea of the kind of quality and the location of some of our developments that we have. So we had Falcon, Crown View, and Meadowside. A lot of units there, over 1,000 units, all sold within 18 months to 2 years of us launching them. Now let's go on to some of our current developments, and we'll start by talking about Berkeley Square, and I'm going to show you a very quick short video on Berkeley Square to show you the quality. So guys, that was Berkeley Square, and I'm not going to lie to you, but Berkeley Square is one of my favorite developments. This is done exceptionally well with all of our existing clients due to the investment case behind this particular development. So there's 250 units in total. We are now 65% sold out. It's a mixture of 1, 2. There are some 3 bedrooms available in this still as well. It completes in Q2 of 2026. Estimated rental yields will be over 7%, 250-year leasehold. Starting prices of the 1 bed is £235,000, 2 bedrooms starting at £345,000, and the 3 bedrooms for some of those clients is probably around the 400,000 mark and above. To give you an idea a little bit more on the development itself, it sits in a very, very prime location. Berkeley Square is right next to Media City. It's actually a 7-minute tram ride away from Media City, where you've got the likes of the BBC, ITV, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and everyone. And the kind of tenants we would be expecting to move into Berkeley Square will be the executives and working professionals. This also is only about 10 minutes away from the city centre of Manchester. All of the yellow that you can see on that screen are the tram stops that go throughout the whole of Manchester, making public transport very easy and convenient for anyone and everyone to use and utilize. Furthermore, Here's a little bit of the development. This is the outside of the front side of it, you could say, which is river facing. Most of our apartments on the river facing are now sold out. We have got the odd few 2 bedrooms available, but majority of them are now sold out, river facing. But a little bit more on the development itself. This is going to have all the possible amenities that anyone would require. It's going to have communal rooftop terrace gardens, private residence courtyard with like a barbecue area, picnic area, seating area, and everything. And this is only available for the tenants living in the development. It's going to have a full 24/7 concierge hotel style. Furthermore, it's going to have a state-of-the-art gym and yoga rooms, co-working space area where tenants can come down and be able to use free Wi-Fi and work. And it's also going to have a residence lounge with a small coffee shop and everything as well. Again, all of these are free amenities for tenants to be able to use that live within the development itself. Here's some pictures of what the interior finishing would look like. And again, like all of our developments, they come with high quality finishing. We still have some apartments with a balcony and a terrace area, but a lot of them have been sold already. But we do have some good apartments available. So in terms of the payment plan, for a 1 bedroom apartment, you pay £5,000 to reserve a unit. You pay 20% to the lawyers after 28 days or within 28 days. And then on completion in Q2 2026, we will happily get you a mortgage. And we have been very successful with all of our clients in Africa, the Middle East, and Europe to be able to get mortgages. So there's no restrictions. And typically, we can get you a 70% loan to value mortgage. So you're paying 20% after 28 days, and then 10% on completion, and then a 70% mortgage. For those that want a 2 bedroom apartment, the 2 bedroom, again, £5,000 to reserve a unit. However, you only need to pay 10% after 28 days, 10% after 3 months, and then on completion, you pay the balance, usually another 10%, and then we'll get you a 70% mortgage. So the 2 bedroom has been very popular with many of my clients due to the payment plan that we have available on this. Next development is our Red Bank Manchester development called Kingfisher. And I'll start by showing you a quick, brief video on this. Guys, that was Kingfisher, a great development with all the possible amenities you can think of. And this is right in the city centre of Manchester. So 322 apartments in total. We're about 50% sold out on this with a mixture of 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, completing Q1 of 2029. It is a bit more of a longer build period, but it is a huge development with over 30 stories. And that's why it's going to take a little bit longer to complete. But this one, because of the long completion date, it will give you 8% plus on rental yields, 250-year leasehold, one bedroom starting at 295 and two bedrooms starting at 400. Sorry, that's a slight typo error. Forgive me. It's 347,000 on the two bedrooms. So apologies on that, guys. But this particular development sits in a very, very prime location. Easy walk easily into a town via active travel routes, close to Victoria Station for quick rail and metro access. And it's got home to Danzig and Dulwich streets, a waterfront and parks. So it's in a very good location there. Connectivity by train, you can get Victoria train station within 3 to 10 minutes walk, Piccadilly train station in 10 minutes. You can get to Manchester Airport in 35 minutes and London Euston itself in 2 hours and 10 minutes by train. So very strategically located, great capital appreciation opportunity. This whole area is from the same developer. It's actually one of the world's largest developers. And every single one of those buildings you can see is what the developer has been building or has already completed. Okay. And that Kingfisher is there in the middle there. Now, a little bit about the development. This has got all the possible amenities. So you can see what the interior finishing looks like. Very high quality, very high end. Again, for the executives and working professionals. And then you can see here, this is going to have a clubhouse reception area. It's actually got its own and the first of its kind in the UK, a dedicated 6-story clubhouse. In that clubhouse, there's going to be a gym, coffee shop, restaurants, cinema rooms, co-working space area, and a restaurant on the top floor as well. So everything you can think of, amenities-wise, that 6 floors is going to cater specifically for the residents that are in that area. And then you've got your residence lounge and everything as well. Gym, wellness studios, restaurants and bars, all there for tenants to be able to use. A little bit about this development, £2,000 to reserve a unit now. You pay 10% to secure a unit within 28 days. Then 12 months. So after 1 year, you pay another 5%. And then on the 3rd year, you pay another 5%. So this is really spreading the cost of your payments throughout the build period of the development itself. And this has made it very attractive for international investors to be able to break down their payments and be able to invest in a property like Kingfisher. And then on completion, we'll get you a 70% mortgage again. And then finally, our last development called One Victoria. This is a great development that's actually close to completion. So for those of you that are looking for something very close to completion, ready to move into and quickly start making a rental income, we've got One Victoria right in the heart of the city centre of Manchester, right next to the Victoria train station. And here's a quick short video on this.
Manchester, a city that thrives on innovation and ambition. A beacon of culture and connectivity in the heart of the North.
First on BBC One.
A city where history meets modernity just steps from your door. Where the spirit of Manchester's vibrant past is woven into the fabric of its dynamic present. Experience the pulse of the city, from the eclectic northern quarter to the architectural grandeur of the medieval quarter. Every corner tells a story. Amidst this bustling metropolis stands One Victoria, a premier development that reflects Manchester's growing prestige. Right here, at the heart of it all, One Victoria offers a luxurious modern living experience with 129 meticulously designed 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments. Above the city's hum, the 10th floor garden provides a tranquil escape. And when you step outside, you're just moments from Manchester Victoria Station, offering seamless connectivity. Surround yourself with top-end restaurants, exclusive shopping, and cultural attractions, all within walking distance. With Manchester's economic growth outpacing every UK city outside London over the past 20 years, and its status as the UK's best city to live in, One Victoria is more than a home. It's a smart investment in a flourishing future. One Victoria. A place to live, work, and thrive. A place to call home. Discover the pinnacle of city living. Discover One Victoria.
So guys, a fantastic development in the city centre of Manchester, almost completed. It's got 129 units in total, but there are 67 units remaining. With this one, there's a mixture of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom apartments, complete in September this year, so in about 6 months from now. Estimated rental yields will be around 6.6%. Starting prices, 1 bedrooms at around 291, and 2 bedrooms at 348, and 3 bedrooms at £450,000. Again, very well competitively priced in terms of a Manchester city centre location. The location right in the city centre, as you can see from there, you can see it's walking distance, 3 minutes to Victoria Metro, and then you've got AO Arena, Sainsbury's, Selfridges, and Market Street itself. And then from the Piccadilly train station, walking distance again, 12 minutes, Etihad campus, 18 minutes, Old Trafford, 19 minutes, Salford Quays, and then Media City, 25 minutes away. So again, sits in a very prime location if you want a city centre location itself, okay? Now, in terms of the location, you can see One Victoria there. That is, all of that is the city centre of Manchester. I will go into more detail when we do a one-to-one meeting, but it can show you, and you can see from there, everything is literally walking distance away from where you need to be, okay? A little bit more about the development itself. That's what it looks like just there in the middle, right next to the metro station and the train station. And there's the One Cathedral right behind it there as well. And that's just prime city centre location. Living room, kitchen, bedroom. Again, like all of our developments, all high quality finishing. Bathrooms, and some of them still come with terraces. And we do have a number of units with a terrace available as well. So do try and pick one up before they get sold out. In terms of the payment plan, £5,000 to reserve a unit now. You pay 15% as a down payment now. And then on completion in September 2025, you pay potentially another 15% because we will get you a 70% mortgage on completion. Okay. So again, a nice payment plan, making it very affordable to get into this. Now, very quickly, the process of buying a property in the UK. Quite simply, you pay your £2,000 or £5,000 to reserve a unit. From there, you will then start your legal process with the lawyers over 28 days, which is approximately £1,800 plus or minus. And then you will basically pay the down payment to the lawyers into an escrow account, so your money is completely safe and secure. From there, you exchange. We will then introduce you to a mortgage broker in the UK that is fully licensed and regulated to be able to give you mortgage advice, and they will help you to get a mortgage in the UK. 70% typically what we can get you. 3 months before completion, we will introduce you to the UK Property Management Services. These guys will help to get the property tenanted, manage it, maintain it, and in the future, if you wish to sell your property, they will even help you to get your property sold. And then finally, on completion, you pay the balance by mortgage or cash, and that's it. So that is how you go about buying a property in the UK. Now, let me tell you why you should work with Legacy. And I'll make this very quick, guys, because we're now dragging on a little bit. So I'm going to make this as quick as I possibly can. So very quickly, a little bit about Legacy. So Legacy UK Investment Consultancy is a premier UK-based property consultancy dedicated to connecting international investors with prime property opportunities across the UK. We've got over 30 years of combined experience. Our team brings a wealth of industry knowledge and expertise to every client interaction. In terms of us as a company, we have 3 separate divisions. We have our UK properties, where we've been working for over 10 years. We then have our citizenship and residency programs, where we work with 14 governments from around the world to help to get a second passport or dual citizenship. And then finally, we have our Dubai real estate division as well, where we're fully licensed and regulated in Dubai, and we help clients to ascertain a Dubai real estate opportunity as well. Then as a company, we are a global company. We have over 400 clients around the world, over 30 years of combined experience. Our head office is in Dubai. We have an office in Turkey, UK, and in Spain. And we are also opening our 5th office in Lagos, in Nigeria, later on this year, due to the huge client bank of clients that we have in Nigeria as well. But as well as that, we do work with all over Africa, Middle East, Far East, and in Europe as well. Furthermore, we are a trusted service for our clients. At Legacy, we make UK property investment easy for clients worldwide with our full service support from consultation to purchase. Whether you're new or experienced, we provide the expertise to help grow your wealth confidently. In terms of opportunities, at Legacy, we provide clients with a wealth of opportunities to enter the UK property market and build profitable, lasting portfolios. Our diverse selection of high-quality properties is strategically located in prime areas across leading cities, including London, Manchester, Birmingham, and many, many more. Our clients benefit from investments that offer both high rental yields and significant capital appreciation, creating a solid foundation for wealth growth. By carefully selecting properties in high-demand locations, we ensure that each investment not only meets today's market demands, but is also positioned for long-term value. Our turnkey solution, we handhold you through the whole process of buying a property. Today, you've got a good idea of what we've got, but the next step would be for us to have a one-to-one consultation where we look at your goals, we identify your objectives, and what are you looking to achieve. We will then look at all the developments that's right for you, all within your budget and locations and everything. From there, we will introduce you to an independent panel of lawyers. These lawyers don't work for us. They don't work for the developer, they work for you. They will help you with the whole process of buying a property in the UK. You will make your payments to them where the money goes into a safe escrow account. So your investment is completely safe and secured. They will also do their KYCs, source of wealth, and AML checks on you as an individual because the UK is a very heavily regulated market. 6 months before completion, we will introduce you to UK-based mortgage lenders where they can help you to get a mortgage. And we've been able to get clients all over the world a mortgage. 3 months before completion, we will help you to get you introduced to the full property management service. They'll help to get the property tenanted, manage it, and maintain it for you. And they will be able to even resell the property for you in the future if you wish to sell your property as well. From there, we will even help you to open up UK bank accounts if you want to open up a bank account. We will help you with foreign exchange. We don't help with the Naira or any of those kind of currencies, but any major currency, we can help you to get it converted at a better rate than what the banks will offer you. Some clients who are buying multiple properties from us, we will even help you with UK company formation or UAE company formation. There are many tax benefits to doing this. And also your children and your wife and them can be part of shareholders, dividend holders, etc. So we can help you strategically navigate that as well. And those of you looking for UAE real estate will help you with the investor and golden visa services. In terms of our clients that we work with, we've been in and out of Nigeria for well over 8 years now. And these are just some of the major banks that we have a great relationship with. And we've been able to get all of our Africa clients' mortgages through these companies or banks, as well as other UK lenders that will also help with Nigeria clients and West Africa clients as well. These are through their London, UK offices, not the local branches in Africa itself. Furthermore, we've worked very closely and extensively with people like JTC, JD Taiwo & Co., Gadal Real Estate, but also we have great ties with Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil, their corporate divisions and everything as well. We've been working with all of their members for well over 8 years now, and we've got a great relationship with all of them. Furthermore, I'm frequently in Nigeria, and I will be there at the end of next month in April also. And regularly, I'm featured in the local newspapers where we've done panel discussions with JD Taiwo & Co., JTC, and we've had many interviews by local companies there as well, asking us to talk about international real estate and why we should be doing it. I am, as I said, back in Nigeria at the end of next month in April, and I will welcome any one-to-one meetings. I always stay in Victoria Island and mainly at either Black Diamond or in Ikoyi at the George. So I do regular meetings there with all of my clients and hold regular seminars and group discussions. So on that note, I would now like to welcome any questions that anyone has, and I would be more than happy to assist to answer anything. So Keith, over to you, buddy. Do we have any questions?
Hiren, thank you for that. Thank you for that interesting take on Manchester and the options that are there. So a couple of questions that I'll run through some of the questions that are there. So first one is there any difference for an overseas investor compared to somebody who's based in the UK? Is there any restrictions in terms of what properties they can buy and so on and so forth?
So that's a very good question. And the answer, quite simply, is no, there are no restrictions at all. Basically, the UK has, for over 100 years, welcomed international investors investing into the UK property market. And one of the nice things is that they specifically have a mortgage called a buy to let, BTL or BTR type of mortgage, specifically for investment clients, and you can buy anything in the UK, but they do understand with a buy-to-let mortgage that it's specifically an investment property, which means that your tenants are the ones who are paying the mortgage every single month. And that's why 99.9%, and I literally mean 99.9% of our clients will successfully get a mortgage in the UK without being rejected.
Because I understand that we get this question a lot around the buy-to-let finance. First thing I think is that people to understand is it's interest only. So in effect, if you look at the fact that it's 70% of the mortgage you're taking, the interest rate on that is all you're going to be paying the interest. The rent is going to cover that. And I think it's kind of a commercial thing they take a look at, which is the rent is 125% of the mortgage payment. So you're always getting an income above that. But I think the important thing that sometimes the questions we get asked is, if I had £225,000 to buy a unit in Berkeley, cash, is it better to buy it cash, or maybe is it better to split that into three 30% deposits and buy three? What are the numbers going to look like? So
Yeah.
how does that kind of, if you would sit there with an investor saying, I'm going to pay cash or mortgage, what would you say?
So that's a really good question again, and I get asked that all the time from a lot of my clients. And my simple answer to that would be is think of it this way. This is an investment property. It's not a home that you're going to be living in, and it's not a personal purchase. It's an investment. Now, if you've got £225,000, strategically, I would put down a 30% deposit and get three properties because let's say they're valued at 200,000 or £250,000 each. Why pay cash into one property and get rental income on one property when now, if you buy three properties, your property portfolio is worth over £750,000, okay, because you bought three properties and now you've got three rental incomes coming in. And in terms of from an investment point of view, I'd rather have a portfolio worth £750,000 as opposed to £250,000. So I always tell a client, take advantage of leveraging and gearing because that's how you're going to make money in the long term. It's an investment. How would you put your investment basically?
And if I've got one at £250,000, I'm going to get the 29.2% uplift in the next 5 years, according to Savills. But if I'm owning 750,000, I'm going to get 29.2% of 750,000 for the same
Correct.
investment in there. So I guess the ROIs extrapolate out to favour financing as being, and I think that's how many UK-based investors work in terms of the buy-to-let finances as well. In that,
Correct, absolutely. This is how they all do it, to be fair, because at the end of the day, when you're looking at an investment strategy, you want to maximize your returns. You want to maximize the what money you put in and what are you getting out of it. And again, like I said, there's a difference, which is if it's your own property, fine, you want to get it cleared down to zero and have no mortgage at retirement as soon as possible. But when it's an investment property, it's for you, and then potentially you're going to leave it for your children or your wife or your husband or and then your children. So you've got to look at the long-term strategy of that as opposed to the short-term strategy. So yeah, I'd always tell a client, take advantage of gearing and leveraging, which is mortgages, and you're going to get a much better return on your investment.
I think you can probably, it's two or three times sometimes you can drive that through the leveraging and the finances. You did touch there on, this is a question we've got as well, so I'll bring it in. Touched on the taxation situations you said about leaving you're growing a portfolio, you're leaving it, inheritance tax, general tax on the income, tax on the capital appreciation. So how do people go around tackling that? I mean, there's limited companies, there's family incorporated companies, which is the same, which is a way of which you get around inheritance tax as well. How do many of the clients, how does it how does that work for overseas investors then in general in terms of taxation?
So good question. So the way it generally works is now I tell a client if you're only planning on buying one or two properties, then a company formation structure may not be the best opportunity, okay? Or it may work out to become a little bit costly in the future. But if you're planning for the long term strategically that you want to build a property portfolio, then the company structure works really, really well because there are slightly more tax benefits on there where there's no income tax to be paid and inheritance tax doesn't apply because God forbid when you pass on, the company doesn't pass on as well. The company still exists forever. And if you're the director, your wife or your children become the directors, and the company can go on forever. Also, when you look at corporation tax, it's actually less than income tax itself. So there are many, many benefits to buying a property and putting it into a company formation. But again, it's quite long-winded. So it's one of those things that I would cover with the client on a one-to-one basis because everything is circumstantial based in that respect. And that's where when we're doing a one-to-one meeting and a consultation with the clients, we will then cover with you in more depth. What is your long-term strategic plan and growth potential and opportunities? What are you looking to achieve and do over the next 5, 10, 15, and 20 years and beyond? And then we'll cover, but company formation works for some and doesn't work for others. It just depends on what kind of property portfolio you're planning to build.
Okay, thanks for that, Hiren. Another question that's coming in, we get asked quite a bit. In terms of buying UK property, then, does this lead in any way to UK citizenship, or is that something that has to go down a different route?
Question. So I get asked this all the time for almost 8 years non-stop. So sadly, in one respect, the UK does not offer any kind of citizenship or residency or visa or anything because the UK doesn't need to attract more people to come and live there. You generally find countries that are offering you citizenship, residency, or visa access and everything is generally the countries that are looking for growth in a country and everything like that. The UK has no requirement for that. So it doesn't give you any additional special circumstances or grant you any access. So no, unfortunately it doesn't, but it can make your life a bit easier down the line. If you've got mortgages, you're showing that you're regularly in the UK, you're kind of living there, you've got income coming in, it can potentially speed up the process in the future as well for you if you are looking for the long-term citizenship or residency. And also what a lot of people are doing, especially with my Africa, India, and some of those country clients, and Asia, by the way, as well, is they send their children to the UK for university, Manchester typically, because it's the top universities there. The children are living there, then they stay on and carry on living there for a few more years. They get their passports and then potentially can get their family involved in that as well to be able to get a passport or residency as well. So that is another way around it. But again, happy to cover that in more detail on a one-to-one meeting and consultation as well. Alternatively, many of my clients are just buying Dubai real estate and get the citizenship, sorry, and then get their investor or golden visa services from that basis by buying Dubai real estate.
Okay, just another question that we've got in. So, in terms of like if you're buying a property, let's take one that I think you did, which was the one that's 2029, I think Kingfisher. If you put that on deposit and go through that process, are you able to sell that property before completion, or how does that work? Similar people call it flipping, and they flip in Dubai and places like that. How does that work in the UK, and particularly those any of these developments?
So, yeah, good question. So basically, once you've done the exchange of contracts, you technically own that property, and obviously based on completion of mortgages or whatever. But even before completion, if you wish to sell that property, you can absolutely flip that property and sell it on. You own that property, you own the title deeds and everything. You've made your down payment. You can do whatever you want with that property, okay? And even if straight after completion you want to sell it where you're going to get the biggest premium, then absolutely fine. We can help you to do that as well. We basically work with a number of property management companies in the UK that do the full tenancy and everything, but also help you to sell the property in the future as well if you wanted to. So we can help with that whole process.
Okay, got another question that's coming in that's being asked, which is in terms of the company or company structures and like that. Is that an easy process for people to do, or is that complicated process?
Believe it or not, it's actually a very easy process. It's not very difficult at all because the company formation company that we work with, they are tied in directly with the HMRC as well, and also Companies House. So it's very, very easy to set up that whole structure, add whoever you want, delete whoever you want, whenever you want, and then add your property into there. It's absolutely not a problem. It's very easy to do. It can take as little as 48 to 72 hours to get a whole company structure and everything set up. We just obviously introduce you to the right company that will give you the right tax guidance and everything as well, and they will help you to structure the whole thing as well. So very easy, to be fair.
Another question, just back on the mortgage side of it. So, what's the current market like in terms of mortgages and interest rates, and what do you think, or what are the forecasts moving forward? So, if I'm going to think about buying an off-plan unit now, and thinking I'm going to need to think about a mortgage in a couple of years, where do you see that kind of interest rate? Where do you see the market is going, in particular for overseas investors?
So the one good thing is interest rates are actually on their way down at the moment in the UK. And we are foreseeing that the interest rates are going to continue reducing and dropping. We think the biggest drops are going to come around the end of this year and beginning of next year. And then they should stabilize for a while, and making it more competitive for international investors and local investors in the UK to basically buy property in the UK. So we are seeing that it is all coming down at the moment. So fingers crossed, by the time many of our completions that you've seen today, by the time they're completed and everything, the interest rates will be a lot lower than what they are today.
Thanks, here, and I think that pretty much covers the questions that we've got. We've got more questions that we'll get back to. I think we've run to an hour now, and I think we so questions we can do. We'll contact you directly. We've got details of, and we'll get on with that. Is there anything else that you want to add, Aaron, to today's webinar?
So no, I think everything's pretty much been covered today. I've been and all I would like to say is I'd just like to welcome any questions or one-to-one meetings. Please contact Magnate or ourselves directly and let us know how we can assist you. On a one-to-one meeting, we'll definitely be able to cover a lot more about specific cities, and locations and developments. So please do reach out to either Keith and Magnate or myself directly and let us know that it's come through from Magnate, and we'll be more than happy to assist you moving forward. So thank you very much, everyone. And if you are in Nigeria, like I said, I will be there end of next month and beginning of May, and we've got a large event happening. So we'd like to welcome anyone that would like to meet on a one-to-one basis then as well. Okay. So thank you very much. Thanks for this, Keith. I really appreciate the time you've given us today.
No problem here, and thank you for giving your time as well and expertise on this. And again, any questions, any inquiries, do let us know. You can, as well as ways we've had on the screen, to contact us, go through the website. Happy to set up any meetings that you need for educational point of view, any particular interest you've got. So again, once again, thank you everyone for the time. Thank you, Hiren, again for your time as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. Bye.